So, hello, my friends. We're going to talk really quickly about the confusion going on between the PMBOK Guide 6 and 7. It's very important we take time out to address it because whenever a new guide comes out, there's always a question of, shouldn't it be the new one I'm reading? But you can see this guy on the screen. He's confused. Why is he confused? Because there's a sixth out and there's a seventh out. Even though the PMI will tell you that the sixth is not the active one, they also tell you that it is still relevant. So if you go to a place on PMI's website called Standards Plus, guess what? You will see the PMBOK Guide 6th edition content, especially page 25. So I just want to make it really clear that the 6th edition has not gone away. Let's just make that very clear. It is still extremely relevant. Now, as far as the 7th edition is concerned, about 7 months ago, my buddy Roy and I put together a training called Serving with the Seventh. We covered the entire spectrum of the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. And you know what we found? We found that the 7th edition does not have enough of a base in basic project management to sustain the reading and understanding of a beginner. It does not have the structure that the 6th edition has. Now, what does the 7th edition contain? Let me go over this very quick. The 6th edition contains initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling and closing as the standard. That's what we call the standard in the 6th edition. Now, in the 7th edition, the PMI have taken away the 5 process groups. They have now introduced some pretty lightweight topics such as an introduction, a system for value delivery, and something they call project management principles, which, to be honest, if you've worked in corporate America, you've probably heard this in one way or another. Maybe not spun in a project management idea, but it's pretty much all of those good ethics, good mindset, good team behavior kind of stuff. So it's not enough to build a base of understanding of project management. To make matters worse, a guide to the project management body of knowledge in the 6th edition, which had all the knowledge areas, has been replaced with something that confuses you because it does not map back apples to apples with either process group or knowledge area. So in the 7th edition, they have decided to demystify project management in a different way. It's unfortunate that they do not use the structure of the process groups or the knowledge areas. So what you have are these things that are domains that kind of look like a cross between process groups and knowledge areas. That's why you're confused, because when you take a look at this, you see stakeholders, then you see team. Stakeholders is a knowledge area, team is not. Then you see development approach and life cycle, which is not a knowledge area or process group. That's something we talk about under integration and in Agile. Then you see planning. Planning is a process group. Then you see project work. It sounds like direct to manage project work, but when you read it, you see it's not really. Then there's delivery, there's measurement, there's uncertainty. And speaking of uncertainty, you're more uncertain when you finish looking at the 7th edition than ever before. So what is my advice to you? My advice to you is to stick to this model and thinking I'm going to show you. You ready? Every project, I don't care whether it's Agile, whether it's otherwise, it must be initiated, it must be planned, it must be executed, it must be monitored and controlled, and it must be closed. The 6th edition does not tell you this. It's unfortunate. It's a tragedy. Yes, it doesn't teach you this. Instead, they begin teaching you about other things called principles instead of giving you this firm base. Now, in addition to this firm base, which I have called it the process group pentagon, because I believe everything should be built on this pentagon, right? So in this pentagon, we've already gone through this. There we have integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, communication, procurement, and stakeholder. And I say risk is a bullseye because risk touches everything. But these are your 5 process groups and your 10 knowledge areas. This is what every beginner needs. And this is what the 7th edition doesn't provide. That's why you're confused. So what is my recommendation? Don't go into the 7th. To stay in safe zone, just do what I'm going to show you. Are you ready? Know what these principles are saying at a super high level, super high level. You don't have to go into the dregs, the minutiae in the book. don't do it. I've already done it. Trust me, I've got 300 slides of 7th edition content. So stewardship, all of that stuff, I've got it. But there's no need for us to go into all of these details. For example, I mean, I could run a course for weeks and months going into all of these details. I have all of the details. I have so much content. Like I told you, Roy and I did a 4-week course with my Project Leadership Institute people who have already graduated, but they wanted to know what was in the 7th edition. So we did a program. We went through all of it. Trust me, you're not missing much. You're not missing much. If you're able to glean these principles, that is about all I would recommend for now. Until we hear more buzz from the street, Hussein, my recommendation will be to stay at this image level. In fact, why don't you take a screenshot if you don't already have one, but take a screenshot of the principles. That's all you need. Don't go into reading the 7th because it will throw you off. It doesn't give a firm enough base. I actually wrote a book about the 7th edition. And to be quite honest with you, the book doesn't have the process groups and the knowledge areas. So there's not enough base for a beginner. For someone who is beyond a beginner in the intermediate level, yeah, you can then go ahead and read the book and you're going to be okay. But if you don't have the base, you're just free falling. Okay. Any other questions, Hussein, based on what I just said? Does it make sense?
Well, I mean, yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I mean, it makes perfect sense. But, you know, still, I'm just concerned that might be questions from the exam that related to, should be answered based on the PMBOK Guide 7. I mean, do you think any...
trust me, Hussein, look, here are questions from the 7th. Here is content from the 7th. Why do you think I'm not teaching it over and over again? Because what we are training you on is not based on a PMBOK guide, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stop this recording. I'm gonna take any additional questions you may have.